Every day, someone in our community is facing a challenge they shouldn't have to face alone. Your business can change that. When you join the Community Pay It Forward family, your kindness becomes action, and your sales becomes hope. For as little as $20 a month, you help guide families, nonprofits, and neighbors from crisis to stability. One small step, one powerful mission, one community coming together. Join the family today. Visit the website or scan the code and become a business where people can shop with purpose and support with heart.
Warning, the brown cloud is approaching. Some will try to outrun it. Others may not be so lucky. But don't worry, it's all part of the fun at the Chili Cook-Off for books and board games. Where the chili is hot, the flavors are bold. And Bear E has your back with the official Brown Cloud Preparedness Kit. Follow the plan, know your exits, and whatever you do, hold your breath, because this temporary pain is all for a great cause. Join us, laugh with us, survive the brown cloud, together at Key Largo Lounge in Greeley.
Join us November 8th at 11 a.m. for the 10th annual Chili Cook-Off for books and board games at our home field, Key Largo Lounge, where our small market team is making a huge statement. Scan the code for tickets and sponsorship information. Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Zak Clayton here with Community Pay It Forward, the Come Together Compass, Back Podcasting Networks. I just want to say right now, we've got Joel White joining us today on Footprints Forward, and I appreciate you joining us this morning and every Monday morning at noon East. And I do want to let you guys know that we do have a couple new partners that we will be introducing throughout the week. And we are extremely excited, like Legacy Lens USA, brand new partner who takes in, and life is life. Okay, we all know this. One of the things that happened with Hannah, is she ended up losing her partner. And when she lost her partner, she goes through that same thing that, as humans we go through. There's that loneliness. And Hannah started Legacy Lens USA to make sure that there's still always that memory, that there's always that love, that there's always that something there. She talked about how she used to make phone calls just to hear the voicemail. This is something that a lot of us are familiar with. Legacy Lens USA, they take and they record stories of people who know that, time is coming up short. Look, let's be honest. It doesn't mean that you've got a terminal, that you're terminal, that any of that, okay? Absolutely does not need to mean that that's what's going on. It could be something as simple as, I want to make sure that my kids have this memory. My grandkids have this memory of me, of who I was. Kids are still young, not really young. My kids, they know who I am. But it'd be nice for them to be able to hear a story directly from my mouth, of when they were growing up. Maybe something I haven't shared with them, maybe something I haven't shared with them for a little while. Legacy Lens USA, what they do is they record these beautiful stories and they introduce, they give them to your family at your request, or they give them to you so you can give to your family and make sure it's part of your legacy, make sure it's part of your will, your stuff. So beautiful idea, wonderful. I absolutely love it, and I am proud that Hannah has joined the family here on Community Pay It Forward. All of her information will be coming up later on this week, so please stick with us, and we will be giving you a deeper introduction on Wednesday night, or I'm sorry, on Tuesday night, as we bring you um, community impact. So we need to reach out, and I'm not quite sure if we're going to have the show with Aviva. Aviva, unfortunately, we're talking about this right now. Aviva suffered a very tragic loss. The young daughter of a friend passed away due to a debilitating um, affliction, and she ended up passing recently. So I'm not sure if Aviva is going to be able to get with us and we're going to be able to record. If not, we will do something else to um, honor Aviva and all she's going through. But Hannah, Legacy Lens USA, all now part of Community Pay It Forward. So please go and check them out. Simply go to communitypayitforward.us, type in Legacy or Lens or USA up in the search bar, the new improved search bar, and you will see. Hey, you know what? We're getting a facelift. Not me. They're not big enough humans to lift this fix. But we are getting a facelift. Z and I are working on it very diligently to make a change to the homepage to make it so much easier for you to use. It's a very important time right now because whether you've got money or you don't, there's never been a great time when it comes to prices. Prices have always been too high. Okay? Well, right now they just tend to be a lot higher, and people are struggling a lot more to make all these bills fit. And one of the things that are getting left because of this are people able to make donations. So that's where Community Pay It Forward comes in. To you, businesses, make sure that you are part of the solution. Join the Community Pay It Forward program for as little as $20 a month, and you get to be a program, one of our partners that when people buy from you, you give back to something that your customer cares about. There's a reason why they are going to shop with you, and that reason is very simple, because they get to give back simply by making a purchase with you. They don't spend any extra money, and they come to you because you care about what they care about. And nonprofits don't struggle this time. You know this time, you know there's hardships coming up. You know right now grants are few and far between. So get in front of it. Join the Community Pay It Forward mission partners and allow yourself to become one of the choices for people to be able to turn their purchases positive. They make their shopping follow their heart. And you can be part of that. Get listed on the Community Pay It Forward program. And anytime somebody shops, if they choose you, they donate a portion of their purchase to what you're doing. As little as $25, a one-time $25 filing fee, this can help you maintain the hard work that you are doing right now. So, once again, as little as $20, businesses, you can join us and join the family.
Every day, someone in our community is facing a challenge they shouldn't have to face alone. Your business can change that. When you join the Community Pay It Forward family, your kindness becomes action, and your sales becomes hope. For as little as $20 a month, you help guide families, nonprofits, and neighbors from crisis to stability. One small step, one powerful mission, one community coming together. Join the family today. Visit the website or scan the code and become a business where people can shop with purpose and support with heart.
That is like a completely drastic change in mood there, the going from the, from the disclaimer music to the intro music. It is just like, boom,
You're gonna mess people up doing that, It is that quite dramatic change there, Mr. Zak, to say the least.
Yeah. Yep. So, hey everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome to Rewired for Men, and it's not Rewire for Men like some of us tried to, rename his company. It's Rewired for Men show. My name is Zak Clayton.
Your dogs are here. Say hello, mate. They know it's showtime. They want to take part.
Yeah. They're thinking that they're in charge or something. So I don't know what's going on, but. Dog. Okay, so that was an abrupt change. Wow, buddy, we're off to a good start here today. So, but anyway, my name is Zak Clayton, founder and president, Community Pay It Forward, the Come Together Compass, and Pact Podcasting. This is our co-host, really good friend, and a fantastic partner in the Community Pay It Forward giving partnership, Mr. Joel White from Rewired for Men. How you doing, brother?
I'm all right, mate. I tell you what, you must practice doing all those intro bit there about this, about that, about the other. It's like, is that like Polly Pocket, Picture Pepper, and all the rest of it?
Yeah. You know what sucks, though, is that you take and you do practice all that stuff, right? You say it over and over and over again. Yet, if you have to throw something in as change,
it
is such a pain in the ass. Because we went from Zak Clayton, founder and president of Community Pay It Forward, the Community Dare to Care, to, the Come Together Compass. And I'll still, all the time, Community Pay It Forward, Community Come Together Compass, that still happens. And I changed that 6 months ago, and I still struggle with it. So,
what can I say?
Yeah, repetition. So, Joel, we got a lot going on right now. We've got we've got a lot of things that are kind of getting on men. How long is this football tournament? How long does this thing go on? And where are they at with it?
As far as I'm aware, we're at these semi-final stage. By complete miracle, England are through to the semi-final. They play on Wednesday this week, so I'm guessing the finals next week or at the weekend. To be honest, I play football myself, but I'm not necessarily a fan of watching it all the time. But there we are, it is what it is. But so I guess it's about another 2 weeks left, isn't it? From that perspective.
Damn, it's almost like as long as in the whole NFL season, it seems like, I mean, it comes along and all of a sudden it's there. I know that we went from, I mean, and it's still crazy all the commercials that we have for it here. And it's one of the things that, Joel, I'm just not interested. Football/soccer is not, it's not one of the things that I watch. There's very few things I don't watch, I mean, hell, I'm a fan of watching golf, which is sad, yes, but, I'm a fan of watching golf, but soccer, NASCAR, I like watching rugby every once in a while when I can find it. Rugby's really cool. And, but like I've never watched cricket. And I know that's pretty big on your side of the world, yeah?
Yeah, it's cricket. Cricket's pretty big. We're sort of getting into cricket sort of season. Cricket tends to be a spring, summer. It's not something you necessarily play in autumn or winter. Yeah, and same thing. We tend to be quite good at cricket from that degree. Yeah, it is what it is. What I find funny about English history and sport, we've invented a lot of the games. But generally now we crap at them all. So it's quite a surprise to actually see England in the semi-final of the World Cup. And we tend to do quite good at cricket. But that's three things we invented. Soccer or football, depending on where you are in the world, rugby and cricket. So those are the three things we invented. We didn't just enslave the majority of the world. We actually did some useful things as well. So,
yeah,
so there we are.
Well, like I said, rugby is, I think rugby should be an even bigger sport here in America but see, I have a feeling why people in America love sports like football, but they don't, like American football or baseball, but they're not a fan of something like hockey. And that's because after a football play, you can explain what happened during that play 5 times before the next play. So it's a sport, it's a sport that you can take and you can fully educate somebody on what happens. So as smart as we like to act as sports fans, well, I know what a nickel defense is because they tell me every time that, there's a nickel defense being run. Yeah. And so it excites us because it makes us feel smarter because we had that explained what happened, Hockey, there's no chance of doing that. You get like 10 seconds at the end of a play before they drop the puck again. And so there's no explanation and it's all go. That's why sports like that will never be popular in America. I think soccer, rugby, maybe not so much rugby because rugby is all action sport. There's tons of action in it. But it is curious to me why soccer is not so popular because it seems to me like you could really explain everything as it's happening. And it's while there's a lot of action on the field, it's not a lot of intense action all the time.
I would probably say that's going to change coming out of the World Cup. I think there'll be a lot more people involved understanding it in America based on the World Cup being predominantly in America and Mexico and Canada from that perspective. So I do feel there will be a lot more people watching it, involved in it from that perspective. Potentially as well, generally, what might start to happen, this is just a personal opinion, there probably might be now more investment in grassroots football or soccer, depending obviously where you are in America. Because if you haven't got the grassroots investment, then you're not going to produce the players who then the fans watch and all the rest of it. So I think that will slowly, if not quite quickly, change coming out of the World Cup. That there's obviously been that raised investment in it. I also feel as well that a lot more organisations will be drawn to the idea of football because of how much money they can make from the advertisements from that degree, how much money and revenue that can generate. One of the things which has been one of the greatest changes of the games of football, and quite frankly, a lot of viewers in the UK think it's ridiculous, are the hydration breaks. They've never existed before. And the World Cup has been played in far hotter countries than the US, and they've never used hydration breaks. So, I mean, again, a lot of people see it as a money-making exercise for the corporate world, and a lot of that is true. And that idea of those third or those 4 quarters is very much what I'm guessing, like American football or whatever it is. You don't find that in football. You have a break at halfway, 45 minutes break, 45 minutes. So I think it's real, from my perspective, I think it's had a dramatic impact on the outcome of football games, particularly in the World Cup. And I feel for some teams that's been a detriment compared to others who have adjusted better to it. So I think it's been not the best decision going forward. But again, what I always think happens in the world of sport is rules get determined by the corporate world, we've got to be honest. And I think that's a big part of it. And we touched on this a bit before, the nature of FIFA who govern football. Has had quite a few issues of corruption over the years. And potentially looks like that reputation is still a bit dodgy based on some of the decisions made during the World Cup. So
I'm just gonna say it, and it's I cannot stand that there was a rule changed because the leader of a country called and complained.
Yeah.
Referees have always made bad calls.
Yeah.
Always. Every Super Bowl, there's a missed call, there's a bad call. Every World Series, there's a missed call, there's a bad call. Every Stanley Cup, every World Cup, there's a missed or bad call. You know what? There's rules to it, and it's potential that red card could have been turned around because it happened in the 60s. I believe there was a red card that was reversed. But there's a process to do it, and it shouldn't have to do with any leader. But I'll be honest, FIFA in this administration, going back from creating the FIFA Peace Prize, what the hell is that? I know you Brits love your soccer or anything, but if there is a peaceful sport, it's not soccer.
Oh, it's
not
quite
football.
The opposite. It's quite the opposite. For me, like I said, I play football. I'm not semi-pro. I'm not professional, but I play the game. And for me, we play on a regular basis. There's a group of guys get together. I went and played last night. I played fortnightly, and we had how many did we have out? We had 8 aside, 9 aside. We've got literally young kids playing with us as well who don't mind getting involved. But we don't dive around like pansies like you see on the field. And we don't hack each other's legs off, which you all see on the field as well, because you don't need to. And on top of that, you don't need VR. We didn't even have a ref, but if we had a ref, one's enough with a linesman on either side. You don't need 12 people involved in the game of football, which we now see, during the World Cup, and particularly, obviously, that angle of it being in America as well. It's ludicrous. But what's not improved, despite all these extraditions of people, is discipline. And we touched on this before, I think, last month. This month is an example of it. The discipline of footballers is disgusting. It really, really is. And I think it's been more. It seemed to me, from what I've seen in football games, a lot better. But you still get the hounding of the referee to some degree, and it's just not needed. It shouldn't happen, because you touched on rugby before. Rugby, there's a lot of respect in there for the referee. The referee says you're gone, you're gone. You don't argue back. You don't all the rest of it. but why does it seem to be acceptable in football? And then obviously you've got the FIFA in there as well. And I do feel questionable from my perspective. It's great, that the US held the World Cup this year, but did it really have to be across 3 countries? That's just ludicrous.
Yeah.
It's now
Yeah.
well,
Yeah. Yeah, and especially those 3 countries right now, there couldn't be an agreement with those 3 countries right now if it was written in an act,
Yeah.
I think with what you were just saying right there about the discipline, I find it ironic that where there is more respect for the referees, you said rugby is really good. The other ones are the combat sports, boxing and MMA. Generally, there's not a lot of referees who get in there and get into arguments with the people. There's generally a respect there, which is really funny because you would think that that's a situation where some guy's punching you in the puss for 60 minutes. You're going to be able to, you're going to have that attention to where you're going to want to turn around and hit anything that's coming at you,
Yeah.
But generally, there's a respect there on the combat sports where they don't sit there and abuse the refs and do stuff like this. Look, I see guys in hockey that's one of the things that pisses me off about hockey when they sit there and as they're going to the box, they're spitting and cussing at the refs and doing something. Well, what did I do? And it's like, well, you swung your stick and you tripped the guy. Obviously, it's right there. You tripped the guy, okay? You hit the guy in the back of the head. You know what you did. Shut up, get to the bench. It's I think it's a show of poor sportsmanship, and I just think it's a lack of accountability. And
yeah, that's a massive one. Again, we've touched on this before. It is a complete lack of accountability, and generally that has always been an issue with football. More recently, the amount of money they get paid is ridiculous, and their conduct off the field is just as questionable for some of them on the field. But yet they're allowed to get away with it if you get sign a piece of paper called an NDA. Do you know what I mean? And off you pop until it gets to a position where I can't remember which, because that came up in the World Cup, didn't it? One of the players, was it? I can't remember which team it was. But the guy is to return to the UK in October to face, I think, 4 accounts of alleged rape from that degree, from 4 different women. Obviously, it didn't work getting them to sign on the piece of paper for the NDAs, as an example. Now, I'm not here to say he's guilty or not. Do you know what I mean? That's not my place. I don't even know the guy, and I don't know him personally or anything at all. But it's just, there's obviously something gone on there in the background of it around him being a footballer and potentially what he's allowed to do or not to do whilst other people are not watching from that perspective. And unfortunately, that seems to be a lot in football from that degree. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember years and years and years ago being a guy who was a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs. Kareem Hunt was a running back, and he got into trouble because of domestic violence. He beat up his girlfriend at the time, and the Kansas City Chiefs did the right thing. They cut him, and he was one of the best running backs at that time. He was really, really good, and Kansas City did the great thing. They cut him. They said, nope, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. And Kareem, after a year, after suspension, he got a chance to come back into the league. Well, all of a sudden, now Kansas City needed a running back, so he's back with the team a couple years later. I believe in, I completely believe in, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. But you know what? If you truly, and I hate the word mistake, I hate the word mistake, but I made a choice. It was a poor choice. I apologize for what I did. You know what? If there's not a commercial at the end of every break with Kareem Hunt saying, this is what I did, I am not a bigger man for it. I am ashamed of myself. I shouldn't have done this. Make sure that if you are going to exonerate him, if you're going to say he is healed, he is healthy, you need to make sure that people understand what he did. Don't try to brush it under the cover. Don't try to say that he didn't do it. There were 4 young men on the Canadian national under 18 hockey team who were accused of sexually assaulting a girl in Canada during the World Juniors. And there were 4 players that went to court, and they deemed that the courts deemed that there just wasn't sufficient proof to where, they obviously had relations with this young woman, but they did not have sufficient evidence to prove that they did something. The NHL basically put a blackball on 3 of them, but one of them is a superstar goalie, so of course he gets another chance. And I'm sorry, talent does not overcome stupid decisions. And it shouldn't ever overcome stupid decisions. I don't care, and I'm not saying he ever did anything wrong here, so please don't get me to where I'm saying this, but I don't care if you're Michael Jordan or Ted down the street. If you screw up and if you make a decision that harms people, you shouldn't be out there being influential to kids everywhere.
Absolutely, but it also links into what you said there, putting aside the individual involved in that. If an organisation has certain standards, you shouldn't choose who they apply it to who they don't. And I think that also adds into why we find ourselves, in the world of football and the corruption of what it is. And from that perspective, it shouldn't matter who you are. That if you're the organisation who's brought in to reach a particular decision, that it should be a fair decision for all, not one decision for one, different decision for someone else, because that's completely unacceptable. That creates it just creates the black holes, doesn't it? It creates the gaps what things fall through that turn into chasms from that degree based on who you are and how much dollar you've got from that degree. All those things come into that.
Can you imagine if there are 2 kids, that are watching this, and one has all the talent in the world? This is allowing them to say, you can't do this, you can't make this poor decision, but I can, because I'm talented enough that somebody's going to pay my way, and I'm going to be a pro, so, people are just going to overlook it. You could never get away with this, and if you try to do it, you're going to end up in prison while I'm making millions of dollars. It shows poor decision making.
It does show poor decision making, but unfortunately, we're in a society that seems to encourage that to happen. You know what I mean? You haven't got a lot much further than your own wonderful president in regards to the example that he said. So when are you going to start carving his face on Mount Rushmore then? Is that going to happen next year?
If they do that, I am going... Brother, if they do that, I'm going to need a place to stay. I'm telling you right now. I love that monument. That monument has the 4 most, influential presidents we've ever had. All 4 have their flaws, but they all 4 made positive changes in this country.
Oh, yeah.
And, there's not a single one of those 4 who wanted to, lessen the powers of the people.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter if you were on one side or the other, they were going to work for you, I mean, it's insane. By the way, I do want to take a moment and while we're talking about this, and I do want to say, I didn't agree with this politics, but it is, we send our deepest condolences to Lindsey Graham and his family. I know he was in the Senate for a long, long time. I really, truly do not believe the path that he ended up on, but I, as a guy who was a fan of McCain, of John McCain, I appreciated who he was once before, but I do still I don't want to see anybody die, and I mean especially of a massive heart attack. And I know that he was on the cusp of doing some wonderful things with the Russian Ukrainian war, and there could have potentially been something there. We'll never know now because he passed away. So, and depending on what's going on with our other senator, who's either alive and well or dead and in a closet right now, we don't know. It's a funny place, this government of ours right now. I'll tell you, we just celebrated our 250th year broken away from you guys. And if I were you guys...
Or was it 25th according to your own president?
Yeah, well, yeah. And Islamic State of Japan. I asked my son what he thought about being in an Islamic State, and he was like, what? Freaked out. He's like going, Dad, I don't think Islam's even a thing here. Buddhist and Christian, and but yeah, there's look, I'll give him this. We all mess up. We all say stupid stuff sometimes. He just says it all the time.
And
all the time.
Don't forget the newcomers to America bring communism.
Yeah.
Oh, that doesn't include his own wife, because she must be classed as a newcomer, because she's not from the US, yeah?
Well, and see, that is actually really kind of funny, because all the stuff that there's times that you got to sit there, and when they're trying to pass certain bills, you're just sitting there, and I've said this before, and I really like to see what your thing is. Okay, people say, well, Melania is going to sit there and wait until he's out of office, and then he's going to divorce him. And, he had to do this prenuptial and all this other stuff. And I'm like going, you think she's really going to see a cent if she leaves him? You really think so? Because I'm going to guarantee you, if she leaves him, she will be deported, and she will not see a penny of money. She will not see a red cent of his money. Not one red cent.
Listen, you're missing the obvious, mate. And you're missing the obvious from the perspective of Zach. Let's go back to his first wife, who mysteriously fell down the stairs. They weren't allowed to do an autopsy, and the remains are buried on his golf course. I think the second wife's going to join the first one, don't you?
I think if I was the second one, I'd be talking to my kids saying, "You don't dare let that man touch me when I'm dead." So. And the saddest thing about Ivana, I think, but the saddest thing about her is that they were showing a picture. I saw a picture once, and her memorial site was overgrown with weeds and stuff, and that's just, what, I don't care if you like Trump or not, whatever. Yeah, hey. Enjoy the chaos, I guess. But, I've got really good friends who are Trumplicans. And, we're not gonna lose our friendship over it, But I don't usually do a whole lot of talking about it on the podcast. I just, my thing is ridiculous is ridiculousness. And this communism thing that's coming out right now, to me, is a lot like the eating of the cats and dogs.
Yeah.
It's not there, okay? But they are upset because for, going on 10 years now, the left has been able to sit there and cry out, that fascism and all this other stuff. They tried to go on anti-fascist, and they're realizing that's not actually a thing. It's a movement. It's something that people are. There's not an anti-fascist office. You can't join www.antifascist.com. There's not a membership fee or anything to it. And so now I think they're trying to shift it to another thing. But honest to God, that party is the king of the shifting, hey, look at the shiny object over here as I'm taking your wallet here. They truly are a shifting organization right now.
Yeah, funny but not funny generally as well. Some of the tactics you see in the US, they happen in the UK and happen in a lot of countries. It's just more overtly stupid if not dangerous in doing it. So, I can only go off my own personal views of the government here in regards to how terrible the current climate is. And fingers crossed we're going to have a change soon again with price.
Well, we had Joel froze on us for a second. I don't know what's happening, but we'll work to get him back on here real quick. He's back with us now. So, but he froze on us. Yeah,
I think it's the government not liking what I'm saying. It cut me out.
Oh shit! I never even thought of that.
I'm joking. Well, I hope I'm joking.
We love the government
outside, then I know there's an issue. But, yeah.
Hey, do this. You got a red spot on your forehead. Do this quick.
Hey, don't joke, mate. Unfortunately, that's becoming more reality.
Yeah.
But yeah. Joke aside. It's not great, the general political landscape in the UK, and it certainly isn't in the US. And a lot of the old strategies of divide and conquer. The other issue you've got going on as well is a lot of people are dumbed down that they don't even check basics of what policies they have. They vote without awareness because they get hooked into the thing. Oh, it's the boat people who are coming up who take all their jobs, so I'm going to vote for Reform UK. And it's like, no, if you actually look at any of the policies of what they actually written in black and white, you will see the last thing in the world you want to do is vote for that particular party. And the interesting thing we've got at the moment is obviously Nigel Farage, without going into it, Nigel Farage, has had these people seeing the fact he took this bribe, supposedly 5 million or whatever it is. So he's trying to go back again, Clapton to get his seat. Well, then have you seen Binface? It's a big thing in the UK that a guy's running against him called Binface.
I heard about him, but I haven't seen anything about it. But look, here's the thing: is that I don't understand how anybody can belong to a party. I just don't. Okay. Because one of the things that Democrats are doing right now, they're sitting there and they're crying about minimum wage. And, we need minimum wage to go up. We need this and that to happen. Who's going to stop people from raising our cost of living when you do that? They don't sit there and they're not going to allow you to make more money and not make more money, And
yeah, we had these issues in the UK. They've raised the minimum wage in the UK, but the way things are set up in our country because of taxes, that when they raise minimum wage, great, but then companies don't employ people because they can't afford them, so they lay them off. So it's great doing one thing, but you need a country and the government go, why are we paying so much tax? I don't get it. It doesn't work.
Here's another
really
one.
Doesn't.
Yeah, here's another one that's kind of cracking me up right now is that we're talking about, immigrants coming in and taking, or migrants, I'm sorry, coming in and taking jobs. And everybody's upset about that. Yet we're allowing AI to come in and, that's acceptable if those jobs are taken. If it's taken by a computer, but if you let somebody come in and do a job that, let's be honest, white people, we're not going to get out there and pick those onions. We're not going to get on top of those roofs when it's 105 degrees outside. We're not doing that. Oh, hell no. Hell no. We're not going to do that. Well, but, somebody else will. But if you're talking about, oh, I love AI, I'm going to let AI do, and look, I like AI. I'm a fan of AI. I find AI very, very resourceful for me.
Yes. Same.
But I mean, if you are going to sit there and if you're going to, you can't say one thing's good when the other is not.
Yeah.
If they're both doing the same damn thing,
Absolutely. I think it's just people's perception and stuff. And you said an interesting one there. There are people complain in the UK that there's no work. There is work. It's just you don't want to do some of that work. But yeah, like you said, if you're not going to pick the onions from the field or whatever work deemed not to be acceptable, who's going to do it? We need that to happen. And if it's individuals who are here who have arrived from another country, then why, if they want to do it, then let them do it. Because if we're not going to do it, then we can't turn around and say they're taking our jobs. Well, but the jobs are there. You don't want to do it. So what do you expect? What do you expect to happen? But also, I don't know how it works in in the US. We have a lot of individuals come over from other countries who are extremely well qualified, massively well qualified. But yet when they come to the UK, they've got to jump through all this paperwork to prove that they can do what they want. And some of them never get back into work because the system says no, and the system's so backlogged and the system's so knackered and corrupt. So it's like, what do you want? What do you want? I don't know.
Yep, and the initial training here in America costs so much damn money that there's no way that somebody who's coming over, somebody who, as a matter of fact, we had this one individual who was perfectly trained to be a teacher in Brazil, I believe is where she was from. She was a teacher in Brazil. She had all the training in the world. She came to America. She did it right. She came on in. And they told her, I'm sorry, but you'll have to go back to school to get your teaching certificate. And it's like, wait a minute, I've been a teacher forever. That's why, and I want people to understand this. This pisses me off more than anything because my son is in Japan teaching kids right now, and they didn't make him go through that.
Same with me when I taught. It's okay one way around. It's not right.
Right. Yeah. And I'll guarantee you, I watched him try to learn Japanese. There ain't nothing to learning English. Because, it was actually kind of funny. You should have seen it the other day. He had his first solo wrestling show that he did, and he sent me the write-up on it, right? And he sent it to me, and it's in Japanese, and I sent him a message back and I said, hey, they forgot those words that make up sentences because all it had was like the Japanese symbols. And he was like, Dad, just use a translator. And I'm like, oh, those are words, huh? And he's like, shut up, old man. So, but it was really kind of funny. So, but congratulations on that too, Free. I love seeing what you've accomplished. I'm proud of you, kiddo. Still extremely proud of you being a teacher. I think that is one of the coolest things because I love my kids, yours not so much. That's always been the guy I am, But I believe every kid deserves a chance. And if we don't give a kid a chance, we can't blame them for failure.
Yeah.
So, but, well, Joel, I think this was fun. We got into politics, which is a little weird, but you know what? That's fine. I don't mind doing it.
Hey,
Look,
we did politics, football. You know what's really interesting? When I do my men's groups, I say to my men's group, 3 things we don't talk about. Politics, football, and religion. We've kind of touched on 3 of them here.
We're definitely not
in a sensitive way. So.
You know what? We do a lot of talk about religion when it comes to my shows because I don't believe that any day of the year should be dedicated to only one religion, because there are so many different people in the world. And
Yeah.
I don't see any reason why people should not be curious about other religions and
Yeah.
learn about other religions. I think it is perfectly natural for us to be curious about other religions and want to learn more about other religions. But then again, I also think that tolerance is something that we all need more of.
Yeah.
And tolerance is one of the things that is lacking in this world right now that could really turn things around if we could just be more tolerant of each other, you know. But
Tolerance is compassion. I think that people have lost a lot of compassion for each other, to be honest.
I'll just never understand why somebody wants someone else to be just like them. I will never understand that. Joel, if I meet somebody just like me, I'm not going to like that person. Because I know that person's going to be a pain in the ass if he's just like me. I won't like that person. I need you to be you so I can learn from you.
Yeah.
So I can, you know, because you can teach me things I have never even thought of. And that's why the difference is so necessary in people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but, well, brother, we'll get back into it next month. Thank you very much for this month. And you got anything coming up this month?
Just in the process of getting more stuff on my website, free information for people to access, rewiredformen.com. If you go on the website, you've got a tab at the top that says help with. You've got dedicated pages to money and anxiety, in regards to support for men, struggling in relationships. You've got some information in there. You've got there about burnout, all very apt at this moment in time. Coming in the summer, people start to pick up faster and faster from that degree. You've also got a tab called resources, and there's great resources going on there. There's a guide you can download to actually understand a man a lot better for partners. There's a guide on there about what it'd be like to like Mondays again, because a lot of guys get to Sunday night and they, the start of the week begins again on Monday. And there's a further resources page there. It's got anything and everything between A and Z in regards to support around anxiety, depression, narcissism, whatever it is. So anybody who wants to speak to me speak to me. You got my email address there, joelwhite@rewiredformen.com. Or why not just book a call? I'm always up for a virtual coffee, 30 minutes call. You can get that up in the top place somewhere as well. So there we are, yeah. It's always a pleasure never go, sir.
Yeah, you can actually use either of the QR codes that you see either above or below Joel over there, because those both go to his page and you can reach out to him. Look, the other thing that we really do want to do is we want to get this QR code. We want to get this men group started. We want to get it rolling, okay? We kind of put it on the back burner because of everything that's going on right now, but we are still going to get this men's group started. We want you to join us.
You want guests.
Yes, guests.
So we'll work with both.
Here,
we'll get
let me pose a question, and maybe this can interest somebody who comes out. Okay, Joel, you were just talking about men in relationships, and this could be maybe the reason why you would be so beneficial on joining us, because I'm going to ask this question: Is there a difference between the way of coaching a man who is in a male-female relationship to a male-male relationship? Is there a difference in the way you coach them? And I ask this because, you know, I've never really thought about it, but it's, if you coach men different than women, so is there a difference between coaching a homosexual relationship to a straight relationship?
Well, like I said, for me, I'm not a relationship counselor, so I'm not involved with the other side. All I'm involved with is the person in front of me. So from that degree, there is no difference, because I'm working with that individual's unconscious mind, working at the perspective of what are those unhelpful unconscious beliefs that have impacted on that individual. So whether they are in a relationship with someone of the same sex, different sex, or an alien with purple spots is irrelevant. it's down to the nature of that individual from that perspective. So it's not really, it wouldn't really be any different from my perspective, because obviously I'm working with what the person brings in those unconscious statements. You've been through the program yourself. From that perspective, you're working with that individual based on what they bring to the table from that degree. So, as far as men I've worked with who have been in homosexual relationships or whatever it might be, a straight relationship, I hate using terms like that, a relationship of some kind.
I do too. Straight relationship just sounds terrible.
It is.
It's like calling somebody normal.
Yeah, where's a normal person? Find me one.
Yeah. So
anybody who's in a relationship with somebody, whatever that might be.
All I know is, brother, I have never been more attracted to an alien than I am right now. The pink with purple polka dots. I'm gonna try to find that alien today. So, hey everybody, please reach out to Joel, Rewired for Men. You can find him by scanning either of the QR codes above or below him. Yep, on the other side. There you go. Scan either one of those, or you can get him on LinkedIn, you can get him on Facebook. He's on all of those. We are looking for partners. We've got a drive right now, and you can become a partner for as little as $20 a month by scanning this QR code. And that's how your company can become the difference. Your company can be, That's what we need. Is we just need that Mickey Mouse clock, thing.
I'm really trying to tell the time of one of them. I couldn't do it. It was too confusing.
But scan that QR code. Find out how you can join the family and make your business someone's solution. So, Joel, thank you very much for joining us. We will talk to you again next month. Sound good?
Absolutely, sir. Always a pleasure, never a chore.
Please get a hold of us if you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you on, talk about anything, guys. Allow us to share your story, and when we share your story, we can help somebody through theirs. We'll see you next month.
Yeah, look, we don't we don't try to go out and be overtly political or anything like that, but we're not going to shy away from it. Right now, we're in an atmosphere where both sides. Okay, I saw some stuff that was said yesterday. Of course, I only saw it on the internet, but and I'm not going to verify anything that was said, regardless. But I saw some stuff that was coming out from the Democrat side that just absolutely floored me. Why you would be saying any of this stuff, and I am a sinner. I'm independent, and I like it that way. But the truth is that we need to come together. This division is not helping anybody right now, and we need to cut it out. Once again, the only people who are benefiting from this are anybody in crooked government. Anybody. All of them. We don't want a king. Okay? We need law enforcement. Okay? We need our Constitution. That's what we built our lives on. Every single one of us wants our freedom. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't deserve my freedom if that takes away your freedom. I don't deserve it. We can't find a way for every single one of us to live free, then we need to think about our own freedom. I strongly believe that in a business world, you should, if you build it, you should benefit from it. If you build it by stepping on other people, maybe you should thank the other people. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that building business is a tough thing. It's a very difficult thing. And I think that if you're building it by crushing other people, I think that you need to really look at that. I don't have a huge problem with millionaires, billionaires. I've got a huge problem with the one trillionaire, but that's just because he said some stupid stuff, some radically stupid stuff. Plus, that guy, I really don't think he could tell you if he's left, right, upside down, or square. I don't think he has a clue, as long as there's zeros at the end of his name. I think any conservative who says that they believe what he is lying to you. I truly do. He is as far from conservative as you can get. So, I don't approve of a lot that's going on right now. I don't. I didn't approve of a lot that went on before. I didn't approve of a lot of what went on before that. I am turning 55 this year. And for 35 of these years, when I've paid attention to politics, I have never stood up and said, that was perfect, ever. And I will never say that because I don't believe it's true. There is no such thing as perfect. There's not. That's why compromise is so damn valuable. Make sure you get you some, but make sure other people can get theirs too. You make a little bit of money, but if you're making that money by taking away other people's rights, you're wrong. If you're hurting people every time, if you're hurting people and it's your job to hurt people while you're making money, you're in the wrong damn business. Right now, we're going to do what we can to make your business powerful. Sign up with Community Pay It Forward for as little as $20 a month and make your business powerful. Make your sales powerful. Turn your sales into heart-driven business. And nonprofits, fundraisers. If you need some help, you know what? We're not an immediate cash now business. We're not. We're not. We can't be. if you can say, hey, check out this website, shop with them, and you can support us, then we're the place for you. And we can raise your nonprofit, your charity, we can raise money for them. Businesses, scan this QR code, join the family today. Please love somebody out there because somebody out here loves you. My name is Zak Clayton, founder and president, Community Pay It Forward, the Come Together Compass and Pack Podcasting Network, saying thank you very much for joining us. We will see you next Monday. Next Monday, we are going to be introduced to a couple individuals who, one of them you will meet next Monday, our brand new partner with Legacy Lens USA. And then we're going to be meeting another, hopefully she's a partner by then. We'll see what goes on. We'll see what happens. But she's got a wonderful story as well to tell. And it's a story of how when you look at something and you're saying, I'm tired of being normal, she can tell you the power of taking that next step and deciding, you know what? I didn't want to be normal. I decided not to be normal. I did something about it. So join us next week right here on Footprints Forward. Until then, my name is Zak Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Come Together Compass Pack Podcasting Network, saying, please love somebody out there because somebody out here loves you. Thank you very much. Folks, it's time to get along. It's time to push away the hate. The hate's never done any good. It's pointless, and all it does is hurt others. No one needs to go it alone. When we all come together, we will see you next week right here on Footprints Forward. Maybe.
Every day, someone in our community is facing a challenge they shouldn't have to face alone. Your business can change that. When you join the Community Pay It Forward family, your kindness becomes action, and your sales becomes hope. For as little as $20 a month, you help guide families, nonprofits, and neighbors from crisis to stability. One small step, one powerful mission, one community coming together. Join the family today. Visit the website or scan the code and become a business where people can shop with purpose and support with heart.
Warning, the brown cloud is approaching. Some will try to outrun it. Others may not be so lucky. But don't worry, it's all part of the fun at the Chili Cook-Off for books and board games. Where the chili is hot, the flavors are bold. And Bear E has your back with the official Brown Cloud Preparedness Kit. Follow the plan, know your exits, and whatever you do, hold your breath, because this temporary pain is all for a great cause.